The Doppelganger. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Claire's footsteps echoed faintly as she walked down the narrow hallway to Dr. Gideon's office. She'd been here twice before, and while she didn't dislike him, she wasn't sure she liked him either. His manner was calm, almost too calm, as though he could anticipate her every reaction. That put her on edge. Therapists were supposed to feel warm, accessible, not this enigmatic. She opened the door and stepped inside. The room was sparsely decorated. A simple desk, a couple of chairs, and a tall window with sheer curtains that filtered the afternoon light. Dr. Gideon rose from his chair and gestured for her to sit. He was a man in his late 40s, nondescript but not unkind, the kind of face you might forget if you saw it in a crowd. His voice, though, had a way of settling in your mind, calm and low, like the hum of a distant motor. "How have you been since we last met, Claire?" he asked as she settled into the chair opposite him. She hesitated, running a hand over her jeans. "Same as usual, I guess. Not much has changed." He nodded as though he'd expected that answer. "In our last session, you mentioned that you often feel like no one can understand what you've been through. That your situation feels unique. Is that still how you feel?" Claire exhaled sharply. "Yes. I mean, it's not like I've never tried to talk about it. But it always fizzles out. People don't get it. Therapists don't get it. No offense." Dr. Gideon smiled faintly. "None taken. Let me ask you something. If you could meet someone like you, someone who has been through what you've been through and come out the other side, do you think that would help?" Claire's brow furrowed. "I guess. It would give me hope, maybe. But that's the thing, there isn't anyone like me." He leaned forward slightly. "What if there were? Would you want to meet her?" Claire hesitated, her arms crossing over her chest. "I don't know. I mean, sure, I guess I'd want to know how she got through it." "Good," he said. "With your permission, next week I'd like you to meet someone exactly like the person you're describing. Would you be okay with that?" She blinked, her skepticism surfacing. "Someone like me." "How?" "You'll see," he said, his tone giving nothing away. "Would you be willing to try?" Claire nodded cautiously. "Okay. I'll try." The following week, Claire entered the office with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. She expected to meet another woman, someone Dr. Gideon had mentioned. But as she glanced around the room, it was just him. Her stomach tightened. "Where is she?" she asked, her voice edged with unease. Dr. Gideon raised an eyebrow. "Who?" "The woman," Claire said, crossing her arms. "The person you said I'd meet today." "Is she late?" "Ah," he said, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "No, she's not late. She's here, and you'll meet her soon. Please follow me." Her discomfort grew. This was the first time Dr. Gideon's calm demeanor felt unsettling. He had always been straightforward, and now she wasn't sure what to make of his cryptic response. Still, she followed him as he led her through a door she hadn't noticed before. It opened into a smaller room, dimly lit, with a comfortable reclining chair and some cameras and monitors set up around it. She paused in the doorway. "What is this?" "This is where you'll meet her," he said simply. "Please have a seat." Her hesitation stretched into an awkward silence before she finally stepped inside and sat in the chair. Dr. Gideon adjusted the equipment, angling the camera slightly downward. "For this to work," he said, "you need to suspend your disbelief for a bit and cooperate with me." "Understand?" Claire nodded slowly, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. "What exactly are you doing?" "I'm going to introduce you to your doppelganger," he said. "She looks exactly like you, but she's not you. Apart from your appearance, the most important thing you have in common is that she has been through something of the same weight as you have, and she has found a way through." "Understand?" "I guess," Claire said, still puzzled. "There's no magic here," he continued. "We have a camera trained on your face, and a monitor showing the output. You will not see her head-on, but from slightly to the side. It's easier this way because it's not quite like looking in a mirror. When you see the woman on the monitor, we're going to establish that she's not you. She's someone else. Clear. Claire's incredulity softened into reluctant acceptance. Okay. Let's do this. Dr. Gideon turned on the equipment, making a few minor adjustments for her height. The screen lit up, and Claire leaned forward slightly, watching as the woman appeared on the monitor. She gazed slightly past the edge of the screen, her presence quiet and still. The image wasn't static, but neither did it mirror Claire's movements. Instead, the woman seemed to exist in her own space, distinct and steady. After a moment, her shoulders shifted slightly, and her head tilted, as though adjusting to a more comfortable position. The quiet naturalness of the movements drew Claire in, making the woman on the screen feel distinctly present, almost as if she were truly there. As Claire looked at the screen, she saw herself in 3/4 profile view. The woman on the screen appeared to be gazing at something just out of reach, her focus angled slightly away from Claire. Claire stared at the image, the strangeness pulling her in, as though seeing a stranger on the subway and wondering about her story. Dr. Gideon's voice broke the silence. Claire, this is your doppelganger. If that's hard for you to accept, can you imagine that if you had a doppelganger, this is exactly how you might see her? Claire nodded faintly. I suppose so. When she began speaking, the woman on the screen remained silent, her expression unchanged. At first, the stillness startled Claire, a sharp reminder of the setup's artificiality. But as she met the woman's steady gaze, her misgivings faded. The silence felt less like absence and more like invitation, pulling her focus to the connection rather than the mechanics. A faint hope stirred, quiet but undeniable. Good. Then for now, let's accept that this image could very well be your doppelganger. Claire, is that you on the screen? She stared at the image, the strangeness of it pulling her in. No. Or that could just as easily be my double. Dr. Gideon smiled. Exactly. Now, Claire, I'd like you to describe the woman on the screen objectively. Imagine you're filling out a police report or speaking to a sketch artist. How would you describe her? Claire frowned, her analytical side taking over. She shifted in her seat, her voice steadying as she began. She's blonde. She has blue eyes. Her nose is narrow, longish. Her lips are not full, kind of in the middle. Pale skin, light freckles, faint eyebrows. Dr. Gideon nodded. Good. What else? What does she do for work? Claire's lips twitched. She's a real estate agent. Claire, aren't you a real estate agent? She smirked. Fine. She's a caterer for weddings. As she continued, the details of the doppelganger's life emerged. She loved floral arrangements, enjoyed baking, and had a little terrier. Claire's initial discomfort faded as she filled in the blanks, inventing a life that wasn't hers. Dr. Gideon listened intently before leaning forward. Claire, I have a confession to make. I know this woman you've described. The woman on the screen. And while you've described her exactly, her appearance, her life, there is more that I know about her, something you do not yet know. Would you like to hear it? Claire turned back to the screen, her gaze fixed on the woman who now felt separate from her. Yes. Yes, I want to know. Dr. Gideon's voice softened. Claire, this is it. You see her looking off the screen, but it's what she's looking at that's important. Understand? Claire's lips parted slightly. What is she looking at? The way through, he said simply. You don't need to see it yet, but right now I want you to be certain of one thing. This woman, so very much like you, has been through something like your experience. You felt isolated, unique in your suffering, but she's been there too. And she sees something you haven't seen yet. I mentioned it before. Claire, do you think she sees the way through? Claire reflected for a moment, studying the woman on the screen, her eyes, looking off the screen into something. The quiet intensity of her gaze pulled at Claire, and she found herself leaning closer, almost as if she could follow the line of sight to whatever was just out of reach. Yes, Claire answered softly. Dr. Gideon's voice was calm but probing. Do you believe she sees the way through? Claire's eyes welled with tears as she whispered, Yes. Yes, I believe it. She stared at the screen for a moment longer, her breath uneven. The woman, her doppelganger, seemed so certain, so steady, as if she had always known the way through was there, waiting. Claire blinked and turned to Dr. Gideon, her voice tentative. But what if I can't find it? What if I never see it? You don't have to see it now, he said gently. It's enough to know it exists. Claire nodded slowly, the weight of his words settling into her chest. For the first time in a long while, she felt something stir within her, not quite hope, but the faint possibility of it. And that was enough for now.